welcome to the Metapod, a Pokemon TCG podcast by Dingus and Doofus, talking about the evolving meta. I almost opened it up and said, welcome to Atrocious Gameplay.
Yeah,
that's
work.
not correct.
Oh, wait, who's Dingus and who's Doofus in this scenario?
I would say...
I'm going to go for Doofus. I'm going to call him Doofus.
Dirty Day. I'm Doofus.
I'm Doofus and you're Dingus.
All right, I'll be Dingus. But welcome. We've got a good show for you here today. Episode number 10. We've made it to episode 10. 10 straight weeks of the wackiest podcast here. I think you can say the wackiest TCG podcast, probably, right? That's a good one.
I mean, who's going to prove us wrong, right? Like, who's going to come in here and be like, no, I'm the wackiest.
I'm going to be honest. I think I'm probably the weirdest Pokemon player that people know. I'm going to be straight with you. I'm going to be real.
Bold claims. I think you're going to have to back that up, my friend.
All you have to do is just like watch 5 minutes of my Twitch stream and you'll figure out. You'll figure that out. But anyways, we got a lot of stuff for you today. We're going to talk real quick because this is the final week of the Ultra Prism to Rebel Clash meta. So we're not going to spend too long, but there was a really cool tournament, a really awesome charity tournament that happened that we're going to talk about briefly for a couple minutes. We'll talk about our predictions to the Ultra Prism Darkness Ablaze format. You may be thinking, Jake, Sean, why are you talking about this now this week when Pog is like in... Is it
2
like
weeks.
2 weeks? 2 weeks. And you know what? There's going to be a tournament this weekend. We'll tell you how to sign up and where to go for that. And then also the big Q&A. We got some questions for all of you wonderful ladies and gents. So we're going to answer them. All of them, even the ridiculous ones. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, Sean, do you want to open up the tournament or do you want me to?
I mean, I can open it up. The tournament we're talking about is the Flow TCast's Life is Just a Game charity tournament. So that tournament was put on by another awesome podcaster, Flow TCast. You may know of them. If you don't, definitely check out their podcast. They stream it on their Twitch and it's on Spotify and everything. So he was able to put on a tournament with some of the best players in the game. Things like people like Henry Brand and who else was in this? Azul and I believe Caleb Gedimer. I believe Daniel Tavilla.
Hunter Butler was there.
Yeah, really. And I'm sure we're missing other people who are also amazing. So it was, I think, to be frank, probably the best send off that this format could have had in terms of a lineup of players.
I agree.
And yeah, so they did the tournament over the last weekend. Some really interesting, set of decks were played. I think that was very surprising. Lots of Mew 3s getting played.
Yeah. It was like, I think it was like 65% Mewtwo. It was awesome. Super cool.
Basically what you're seeing here is like everybody that played in this tournament was just big brain. And those are the people who play Mew 3. So lots of Mew 3 players. I mean, you have the world champ. Obviously, they're going to be bringing the Mew 3 heat. Yeah, it was a fun tournament. But more than anything else, it raised money for a variety of different charities. But the winner, Emery Taylor, hopefully we're getting your name correct. They won the tournament. And what list did they win with? Was it Mew 3 as well?
It was a Mew 3. Yes, sir.
And so that helped raise $500 for Planned Parenthood in Minnesota. But I know a lot of the other streamers who were part of this raised money on their own for other charities. So if you watched, participated in any way, like kudos to you for not only supporting a fellow content creator, but also supporting awesome charities all around the country and world, probably to some degree.
And we're not going to dive too deep about like matchups and, all these crazy things. I did see a Mewtwo list with a 1/1 Dragapult. So Hunter Butler, if you ever want to talk to me about why that is, I would love to have a conversation with you because that's the first time I've ever seen that personally. But this format is basically dead now.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, the next part that we'll go into, the Neopie Open, I mean, starting this weekend, the Neopie Open is going to be Ultra Prism 2 Darkness Ablaze. Do we know if the Hegster events will be that?
The Hegster
I know
last
the
chance
invite's coming
qualifier.
up. Yeah.
The last chance qualifier and the invitational, I'm pretty sure, are both going to be in current standard format.
Okay,
And
cool.
I could be wrong. He could change his mind, but the reasoning that Ethan gave for a lot of that, he wants to ensure that the tournaments are not, because, the invitational for him is like a culmination of all of the events that he's already hosted.
Yeah, he's done a great job.
Yeah, and he wanted to make sure that the winner is based more off of skill and less off of the variance that comes naturally with any new format, right?
Okay, yeah. No, that makes sense. I respect that.
So that's another big tournament that's going to technically be in the current standard format, but that will also be an invitational. You can try to qualify for it in the last chance qualifier, which I think will be the 13th?
August 13th, yes.
Yep,
August 13th.
So like if you really want to participate in the current standard format again and get a chance to be in an invitational, that's probably your actual last chance. It's a last chance qualifier in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
and plus it is legit the last chance because August 15th is going to be the big invitational event.
Yeah, but to your point, the next format that we're gonna have, Ultra Prism 2 Darkness Ablaze, is kicking off this weekend with the Sunday Open. So I know that also you may have already seen this, but the Metapod is also sponsoring this weekend's Sunday opening. By matching all of the donations. I think we're just as excited to see these new cards coming into the format. And I also just, to be frank, I want to be able to get some of those deck lists as soon as possible so that, Jake, you and I can talk about them when we record.
Heck yeah, I gotta make YouTube videos.
That's right.
The decks, because I mean, I do know stuff. I do know some stuff, but there's a lot of bigger brain people than me personally. There's a lot of smart people out there.
So that will be, so next week we're going to be talking about POG, and we're going to be using the information from the Sunday Open this weekend to talk about it. But before we even get to the Sunday Open, let's make some predictions, Jake. Jake, what do you think if you had to pick 3 decks? I'm going to give you 3, so you don't have to just pick one, but 3 decks that you think are going to do really well in the Sunday Open.
ADPZ, obvious. I think ADPZ is going to be doing well. I think that Item Lock Vikavolt is going to be really good just because, you're still going to have Electro Powers, you're still going to have Thunder Mountain, you're still going to have Faulkner. There's a lot of good options for Vikavolt. And now we've started to see variants with Vikavolt. That's not just condensing it to straight up lightning. That also includes now Amoonguss, which I've actually known about for a couple weeks. A buddy of mine, Bedove, played it a little bit, and then Celios posted it the other day. So I think some form of Vikavolt is going to do really well. But the third deck, I don't know. I would maybe. This is going to be like my what is that called? My wild card. So then we have 2 different opinions, most likely. I think Firebox. I don't know why. I just have this gut feeling because Heatran GX is insane, in my opinion. And I think that Firebox is going to do real well.
I think that's a absolutely fair call. I know that Andrew from Tricky Jim, he was playing around with some Firebox focused around Heatran, and he was saying that deck is just insane. He's got a video of it on his channel, so check that out. But yeah, I think that's a good sort of underdog call. I think that ADPZ and Vikavolt are a pretty good call in terms of like kind of what people expect, especially for this POG format or this Ultra Prism to Darkness Ablaze, where you still have Thunder Mountain and E-Power in format. Vikavolt is
it's just like so much flexibility. You don't have to hit for just 50 on the item lock. You can hit for 80. You can hit for, quick math, 110. You can hit for 140. You probably don't want to use quad E-Power in one single turn, but if you wanted to, you could. And then there's that 190 attack, which only costs 2 energies with Thunder Mountain in place. So it's like, I just think that Vigavolt's going to be really good, especially because like what I've noticed when I've tried to deck build in this format and match up against item lock is that I realize like how dependent I am on items, because we haven't really had a dependable, easy, good item lock in a while.
You're absolutely right. I think that good item lock is not something I've really been familiar with. I didn't play in the Seismitoad era, nor did you. You may have played some in Expanded, but
the Seismitoad doesn't see too much play in Expanded.
All right, it may just be like, everything else is so broken. It just doesn't.
Yeah,
matter.
I mean, Expanded is just a hot mess of a million miles an hour. So like, especially no attacking turn one. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, Seismitoad might not be the best. Anyways, continue on.
I mean, look, I agree with you on ADPZ. I want to say I agree with you on Vikavolt. I like Vikavolt a lot. So, and I think especially weekend 1, you will have a lot of players who will choose not to over tech for Vikavolt, right? Mm-hmm. Because people are still going to be figuring out the format. So I don't think you'll see quite as many Mallow and Lanas and Bird Keepers as you would if Vikavolt established itself as a clear front runner.
So like, let's say that Vikavolt placed 1 through 8th and Neil Pie Open, probably Pog would have a lot more than of the Mallows and Lanas and Bird Keeper Tobies. Exactly. I need to stop saying Bird Keeper Toby. It's not actually, it doesn't say Toby on the card, but there's like, I think it's a YouTuber. His name is like Toby, right?
Yeah, that's a YouTuber's name, Birdkeeper Toby.
Yeah, I just keep thinking of him, and that's like the perfect. I don't know. That card is literally him. Yeah. Shout outs to you, Birdkeeper Toby, if you listen to this.
And then I think, for me, the last thing will be like, okay, well, any early format, the question's going to be what can take advantage of the natural lack of structure to a new format. And I think something as linear as Eternatus VMAX can certainly do that. Because I genuinely don't think, as much as I like Belelba and Bryson, man, as a soft tech, I just don't know how, and especially being so early, the question will be, how many people do you think can even get Eternatus VMAX? And then do you metagame yourself out of playing counters? Meaning, the Corbominable everybody's talking about is one counter.
I have yet to like see really anybody play that. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just not watching the right videos or the streams, but I haven't really seen it. It's one of those things. What was a card that people were like, this is going to be gas, but then nobody played it? What? Oh my gosh. There was a card recently that had that effect. Was it Milotic? It was like everybody just wanted Milotic to work.
Yeah, I was one of them.
It just didn't. And I wanted it to work too, because Milotic is a really cool Pokemon in my opinion. Very beautiful, but it people were like, this is such a good idea, and pair it up with Absol, and it just didn't work out. And I think that's what Corbominal is.
You know what I might think will do well at Pog? I kind of have a sneaking suspicion.
VMAX.
No.
That was just a random guess. First thing popped in my head.
I have a sneaking suspicion that Pikarom does well at the Sunday Open.
I could see that.
Because, look, it's a super consistent deck. It doesn't really gain. It gains, if you want to throw a Vikavolt in there, go for it. But it doesn't really gain a lot from the new cards. But what you do get out of it is the consistency of Pikarom. And, assuming that ADPZ, let's say ADPZ gets played. I don't know if Pikarom has a great ADPZ matchup. I think it's probably 50-50 is my guess. Because,
Tag Bolt turn 1.
I mean, if you can get off a Tag Bolt turn 1 with what you would need triple E power against
No, you don't have to knock out. You just have to hit Tag Bolt turn 1.
You're talking full blitz.
Full blitz. That's what I meant. You full blitz turn 1. You don't have to full blitz to the active.
No.
But you full blitz, then they GX, and then you knock it out. Mm-hmm. And then they have they have to use their metal saucers to accelerate. So that's the game plan. That's how you win in that matchup, in my opinion.
Definitely. But I think the challenge is you probably have a Dedenne on the bench And so then you're like, okay, well, if I have Dedenne and Zero Aura or Dedenne and anything else, and they can just go around my Picarams. That's not great.
But like here's the thing though, like because they take a little bit to get going. So if you kill the ADP before it gets to accelerate energies, then it's easy as pie. It's easy as pie because then like you go into the Zacian that maybe they've started powering up because they had to pass on a turn. You can bring it up. You whack into it with a tag bolt. You maybe use 1 E-Power or 2 E-Powers, depending on if they have the Metal Frying Pan. Although I don't know how many of them are actually playing Metal Frying Pan still. But anyways, you could use 1 or 2 E-Powers, which is not that hard to find. I feel like right now, especially when you talk about the additions of like Crobat V and Dedenne in a deck, like it's a lot of draw, son. You just do that and boom, you knock out that one. And then all you have to do, I mean, if they've already used up some resources on that one Zacian that you just knocked out, like what are they going to do?
I mean, I still think it's a 50-50 just because like getting another Zacian powered up, especially now with Turbo Patch, is not that hard.
Turbo Patch does make it a lot easier, but like,
and then you throw if the deck decides to not play Frying Pans, but instead play 1 or 2 Toughness Capes. But anyways, I think that Picaram, because it's such a heavily played deck, and because you're not worried about using things like Wondrous Labyrinth because you have so much acceleration. I just think that, you might see some players, hang on to Picaram and do well just because it's consistent, right?
No, yeah. And again, like you were saying, like, I don't think you have to do much to it to make it work. But like, speaking of like Belova and Bryson, man, I think Picaram's one of the better options for that because it runs Tag Call.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
I think
right.
Anything that runs Tag Call, I don't think it's I don't think it's blasphemy to put in if you're trying to tag against Eternatus and you found that. I haven't honestly tested it too much, like using that but like I feel like with Tag Call, that's the most ideal way if you're a Tag Call deck and an already established Picaram deck that's using Tag Calls because before Limitless Qualifier 3, who said Tag Call Pika was the GOAT? Who? Sean, tell me who.
I assume you. I don't remember this. I have no memory.
Freaking yeah, me.
I have no memory of this place.
It's my claim to fame on Pokemon trading card game is calling Tag Call Peak. It started out as a meme, but I believed. I
mean, so that's. I think that's my call. The only other thing I'll say is, you might see a decent amount of control being tested out at the Neopie Open.
I think it's fair.
That is really, I think, going to depend on if people who are planning to play control for Pog want to give people the option to play against their decks, right? I think that's one deck where it's like the less people know how to play against it, the better almost. So if you have a testing group, you may decide, I'm not going to bring my control deck to the Sunday Open because I don't want people thinking about it.
Well, but here's the thing, like, you don't have to submit your deck list in the Neopie Open, right?
You do, I believe, for Top Cut nowadays.
Well, Top Cut, yeah. But like for Bottom Cut, if you really just want to test it and you don't want to, maybe like because like you have to submit your deck list in Top Cut and stuff, you really, really don't want people to see it. You know what? If you go 5-0, just drop or switch decks. Switch decks, bring something else. You can keep that a secret. There's a way on PTCGO where you don't have to let people see your deck list. I mean, I'm probably going to play control at the Neopie Open. I'll be straight up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good choice. I think a lot of people will be in the, like, people who like control decks, which is granted a small percentage, but people who like
telling you weird.
It's like the best time to practice because now you get to practice it against, people playing in real games and not just testing groups. And so you could catch a lot of people off guard because control and even mill, like that whole combo, like that way of playing.
The hybrid.
Yeah, it's not something people have been playing against for at least, 2 months now.
Yeah.
So I think that would catch a lot of people off guard.
I mean, I think I didn't put it in my top 3 because like I don't think it's going to be played a lot. I think, like you said, it's going to be a select amount of people, and then probably half of those people won't do well. Probably myself included. But you know what? I just don't want to play games that end in 3 turns. That's why I've been playing a lot of Control lately. But I will say, here's my hot take. There's going to be a fighting deck that goes a long way. It's going to be really cool. And then a lot of people are going to play it, and then it's going to do real bad.
Phalanx. Everybody's playing Phalanx.
I don't know. Maybe Phalanx. I mean, but like there's going to be a fighting deck that comes into the Neopie Open, and it's going to absolutely it's like when Excadrill came into Limitless Qualifier 3 and just dominated.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might be right, especially like,
I wonder if Excadrill is a good call. Hold on. Back to the drawing board.
I think in a world where ADPZ is good, I don't know if and in a world where also you expect Pikarom to see less play. Because I do think
but you think about it, like less play for Pikarom and bring in 2 decks of Item Lock, Vikavolt, and Eternatus. Like
that's true.
Is that more than what we had before, or is that about the same?
Well, the problem with Excadrill and Item Lock is you have to find your friggin' Excadrills. And you're milling yourself. So like, how are you going to put cards back in if you're an Item Lock?
Yeah, that is definitely a situation. So maybe not Excadrill.
Rhyperior. I think
scratch that off.
If anybody's going to play a fighting deck, my honest opinion is you're going to play a fighting deck that features Rhyperior V, because Rhyperior also has control elements to it.
I saw Malamar. I saw Michael Catron, I think it was, posted a Malamar list that had Rhyperior V and a Melodic V. And I was like, this is awesome.
I mean, look,
I love it.
People talk about that deck, but my favorite response to that on Twitter was, okay, cool. So you're happy to lose to ADPZ then. That's cool. Because that's basically an auto loss to ADPZ.
Yeah.
Because knocking out a Melodic and a Rhyperior is a piece of cake. So it's like, cool, you can hit me for not enough damage to knock me out, probably. And then I can just swing back for 2 turns and just win the game.
What's a Rhyperior V with the toughness cape?
I don't know. Probably like 260. I think Rhyperior is probably either maybe 270. Rhyperior is probably like a 210 to 230 HP. Probably 220 though is my guess. Because it's supposed to be like those big chunky boys.
Rhyperior V is 230. What is the toughness cape?
280.
280.
That ain't bad. That ain't bad. So maybe
you could put that on a Tina as well. Mm-hmm. And that might disrupt some stuff. We saw Luxray with 190. Luxray with 190 was really hard to hit. That's 180.
I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. I think if you want to put toughness capes in for the Rhyperior in that matchup, that's not bad. That's not bad. Does Rhyperior's its main attack, the one that you want to use though, it just puts energy. Does it discard it or put it back in the hand?
Sorry, I'm trying to find an English picture. Discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon.
That's very good.
That's pretty nice, actually. And then heavy rock artillery during your next turn. Pokemon can't use heavy. We have so many switching effects that doesn't matter at all.
Also, can't use heavy artillery. I don't care. I'll just use Drill Run and discard an energy, right? If I'm still alive.
I mean, well, you go Drill Run to discard an energy, set them back 1, and then you go heavy rock artillery. And that's 290, and that knocks out like an ADP.
Yeah.
Does ADP play tough? ADP should play toughness cape.
You don't even
Plus,
need
you get
cape.
the fighting dojo, and you get the. Now we're not even talking about Malamar anymore.
You got buff padding. That's fine. Either one.
No, I was talking about for the ADP, but buff padding. Yeah. Buff padding I would think toughness cape is better because then you can put it on a Tina.
Yeah, you can put it on Melodic as well. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's just better. Anyways, do you have any more hot takes?
I don't have any more hot takes for not Paga, for the Sunday Open. I think now we can get to Q&A to everybody's questions that sent them in.
Yay. Thank you, everybody that sent in questions. We have several questions now. Some of them definitely going to be shorter than others, I will say. I'm trying to... yes. Okay, here. We've got several questions, some from multiple people, multiple questions from some people, and then some one-ofs. So I'll just say this. Cashman responding with 5 different questions. That's awesome. Thank you, Cashman. And everybody else. So I'm not going to do all 5 right away of Cashman. I'll just go like one person, Cashman, another person, just kind of bring up a little variety, Yeah. That sound good?
I haven't heard these questions either. This is a blind
Yeah, Sean
Q&A
has no idea. Sean has no idea, which is going to be the best part. So question number 1. Cashman, thank you so much for submitting this. When did you guys initially get into collecting or playing Pokemon TCG? And when did you get back into it after years away? So I think this is asking like, when did you start playing / collecting when you were a little kid? And then when did you get back into it as an adult? So Sean, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I mean, look, I am going to just come out here, OG. I got into the Pokemon trading card game. I didn't really play correctly when I was a kid, but I did collect the cards. I tried to play, but I didn't know how. But when it first released, I am a base set kid. I like literally 1999, 1998, whenever, I owned Red and Blue on the Game Boy when it came out at my middle school, and then I got into the cards.
Oh, middle school.
You can check on my YouTube, actually. I found an unboxing video of me from the year 2000.
Ooh.
January 2000, I'm opening up a Japanese Team Rocket box. That's a thing that I did. But yeah, I lived in Dallas at the time, and my parents were kind enough and irresponsible enough in some ways to buy me cards. So I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to open base set boxes, right? Fossil boxes. I think I even opened up at one point a base set first edition box. Yeah.
Who should have kept that sealed?
Yo, I mean, look, you never know. I don't even know where the cards are now. That's the saddest thing. I went back home a year ago. I don't know where they are. I have my old Yu-Gi-Oh! First editions, but I don't have my old Pokemon first editions, really.
Nah, that's Yu-Gi-Oh!
I mean, look, my Yu-Gi-Oh! Collection ain't worth that much, but I wish I could find the Pokemon cards. But I don't have them. But that's when I started, when I was very, very young. I was the kid hustling other kids at summer camp, being like, yo, I'll trade you this, this, and this for that Charizard. I was that jerk hustling other kids.
I'll trade you 10 cards for that Charizard Holo First Edition Shadowless.
That's right. I was like, and my favorite card, I think, at the time was like, obviously everybody likes Charizard, but I really love Blastoise and Zapdos. Those two in particular, lots of love. So that was and then I got back into it. I think Jake and I got back in around the same time, which was about a year ago, a little over a year now. So around when Unbroken Bonds first released is kind of when I got back in as a collector first and foremost, but then sort of transitioned more to a player. And I'm not like a hardcore collector anymore. I want to get back into collecting, but I have to sort of wait until my finances and the purchase of a home sorts itself out until I can actually put money into collecting again. How about you, Jake?
And your home buying?
Yeah, I know, very adult.
So when I was a kid, I have no recollection of opening up booster packs when I was a kid. I think most, if not all of my cards came secondhand. So like, I remember I had a babysitter growing up. I was born in 1996. So like I was about 4 or 5 years old, having babysitters and stuff. And I remember they gave me Pokemon Red. They gave me old Pokemon Red. I think Gold Crystal was out by the time of like 1999, 2000. Actually, when did those release?
Gold and Silver would have come out just after, I think, Pokemon Yellow. And Pokemon Yellow, I think, would have come out in like maybe 99 or 2000. So might have been like 2001, 2002.
1999 is when Gold and Silver came out. So like Gold and Silver had come out, Red and Blue. Kids probably not playing them anymore. My babysitter wasn't because he had Gold and Silver. So he gave me Pokemon Red, and then my mom, because he gave me Pokemon Red, I got a beautiful silver Pikachu and Pichu Game Boy, which I hold very near and dear to my heart. It still works and it's awesome. But anyways, that was like my introduction into Pokemon, and like I watched the anime a lot. I was a huge Pokemon fan, but not really into the cards. I just got the cards to a second hand as like a fun thing. You know, being 4 or 5 years old, I had no idea what they did, had no idea how to play. None of my siblings did either. We didn't really care how to play. It was just cool cards to collect and put in a box, which I'm hitting myself because I had a base set, not a base set. It was a Hollow Machamp that I wrote my name on in pen because I didn't want my siblings to take it. So I wrote the words Jake on it in pen.
You played yourself there, Jake.
I did play myself because now I'm like sleeving up cards. I'm keeping them in mint condition and I'm checking values. But
no, it's fine. That'll be something that you can, do a charity giveaway of a signed Atrocious gameplay card from your childhood.
I don't know where that is, because I went home and I looked through when I hit like freshman year of high school, I think, because when did Diamond and Pearl release? Because it was after the last like games that I played before I hit my teenage phase was Diamond and Pearl. It definitely wasn't 2006 because I was in high school from 2011 to 2010 to 2015. Yeah, because 2010, that was the fall. So I played like Diamond and Pearl offhand, like a couple years later. And then kind of as I started getting more into swimming as like competitively. So like when I realized like I'm not an actually intelligent, intellectual human being, sports is the only way that's going to get me into college. I started focusing more on that instead of Pokemon. And so I hit my too cool for Pokemon phase. Because at my school, it was not cool to be into Pokemon, and I so desperately wanted to be cool. Look at me now, world. But then when around Team Up came out, because I had fractured my spine, and so I was doing a lot of different things to pass the time as it was healing. So like I was binge watching like Family Guy, Futurama, American Dad. I love those shows. They're just so funny. They're so stupid, but they're so funny. And I eventually, as all those shows ran out, I watched all those episodes. I started watching Pokemon VGC matches. And so I got to the announcement of tag teams. I saw like the trailer for tag teams and all like these new Pokemon cards and stuff. And so when I would be sad, I would go out and I would buy Pokemon cards, and I would open that up because I had a job that paid me way too much at the time. And so I had a little bit of extra money and I spent it on Pokemon cards. And then as I started getting more and more Pokemon cards, I started looking at them and reading them and being like, like that's an interesting attack. And like then I started learning the game, started watching people on Twitch, came across Purple Cliff's Unbroken Bonds Marathon. The rest is history, head over heels into that. So that's how I started getting back into the card game. That was a long-winded answer. No,
it's a good answer though. You told a story, you painted a picture.
Yeah, and plus I don't want this section of the podcast to be like 5 minutes. I want it to be like a lot.
That's right. We're stretching.
So I gotta do the a long time ago in the galaxy far, far away.
Podcasts don't have a watch time thing. We don't have to go an hour. That's just more editing for me.
Yeah, I want Sean to stay up till midnight because we're recording a little bit later because I just got back from Chicago.
All right. What's the next question on the list?
The next question from On Guard. So thank you, On Guard, for submitting this. With the new resurgence of testing with Firebox, as I had mentioned earlier, Gunning for that the turn 2 hot burn for 350. What do you think is a better welder deck between it and Scorch, and why? So do you want me to answer this one first?
You can start with your answer.
Okay, so the base of what we're at right now, I think in the Pokemon TCG, the state of the Pokemon TCG is we're all about speed, all right? It's about getting to a place as fast as you can. And so Welder, you're able to attach 3 energies on in a single turn. A single turn with the addition of Welder. Now with Hot Burn GX, you know, especially right now with like the VMAXs, the tag teams and stuff, if you can turn to 350 and knock out the Pokemon that they're building towards, you could probably stop them, I would think, right? Like you pretty much stop what they're trying to do.
Maybe.
For the most part. We'll see with like Turbo Patch and other things like that. But I think that just like the ability to hit that right away, and okay, let's say you hot burn for 350, take 3 quick prizes, and then they reply with a knockout. Maybe a Zacian comes up, you know, they were able to use Metal Saucers and Turbo Patch and whatnot to be able to do that, all that jazz, and they knock out your Heatran. Well, you have a whole bunch of support like Fire Crystals, right, to get, and plus now you also have Turbo Patch, to get energies out of the discard to be able to welder, to be able to accelerate energies. You could realistically power up another Pokemon after losing 7 energies on that Heatran in the very next turn to take a reply knockout. So like this format is very heavy on like taking that first knockout, I feel like personally. And I think that Heatran just has a way better opportunity to take that speed and utilize it and take advantage and go ahead rather than Scorch, in my personal opinion.
It's a resource problem for me of like, if you can do it, like, you know, potentially like taking 3 prizes on your second turn, assuming you go second and you can use Welder. Because the only way that this works,
is if you use Welder.
You have to use Welder 2 turns in a row. And you have to use Volcanion on your first turn going second. That is the only way you get 7 energy on board. But
Turbo Patch.
Turbo Patch doesn't work on Heatran
twice.
Oh, I guess you can Turbo Patch onto other bench Pokemon. That's very true.
And then the Heatran as it comes to the active. Another like boom. Sean cleared my point.
Well, no,
I'm the greatest. I'm just kidding.
Again,
Anyways,
I come back to resources, right? Okay, so that Heatran with 7 energy now. You've got 3 prizes. Check. Odds are your opponent will then respond. If they can respond and knock out your Heatran, then now you probably are both tied at 3 prizes each at least, right? Because you're assuming that I'm guessing that the Volcanion gets knocked out because you need whatever it is that you want to knock out with those 7 energy to be in the active. Because you can't Boss's Order it up and Welder on the same turn, right?
Yeah.
So if they know what your strategy is, and they still are going to leave it in the active and take 1 prize, then they've taken 1 prize off Volcanion. If they can respond and take 2 prizes off of the Heatran, then like you're kind of at the same place. You're both taking 3 prizes at that point. And then the question is, okay, well, who has more resources going into the rest of the game? You have burned at least 2 Welders of your 4. Now, there's ways to get them back with Eldegoss or Oranguru Mewtwo or Palpad, whatever, right? There's ways to get it back. But like any Welder deck has those natural challenges, right? Those consistency problems.
Me Welder, me win.
Yeah, if you can pull off the Welder again, then like congratulations. But say you get those 3 prizes. If they have something up there that has some amount of HP, you know, then like, okay, well then what do you have to knock out the next thing? Double is not going to get it done if they've only taken 3 prizes, right? Because then double is only hitting for 180.
You go Turtonator.
Turtonator is not going to have 6 energy on the board because all of your energy has to be on the Heatran, and that got knocked out.
You don't know about that.
No, it's 100%. If you do 350 damage,
I hit 3 Turbo Patches. Boom. Easy.
You have to flip heads on all 3. See, that's my point, right? And even then, even if you attach Welder for 2, 3 Turbo Patches, that's only 6 energy. if you have another Eternatus VMAX sitting back there that they knock your Pokemon out with, then like you have to take a turn off. And then if they gust up Turtonator, then you're in a bad spot. I mean, so my point is like, I think it's super powerful. I think though that it is a risk that you just take, right? You've used your GX for the game.
It's very aggressive.
Super aggressive. Now, look, like we said earlier, Tricky Jim, he's, hot on Hotbird GX, right? On Heatran. So
I am too.
I got to trust him to some degree. Like there's probably a lot of validity to this. And I think you have a good matchup against ADP Zacian because you don't need to waste as many energy. And then you can follow up with Volcanion because they're probably not playing Metal Frying Pans, right?
Yeah.
So I think in that respect, you maybe have a somewhat okay matchup if they don't have, boss's order for 3 prizes, boss's order for 3 prizes and win, because you're going to have Dedennes on the bench. So if they get that combo, then you're kind of, for lack of a better word, shit out of luck. But that's always
Sean cursed.
That's always the problem, right?
Alarm. Sean cursed.
That's always the problem when you're playing ADP. If you have to play Dedennes and other 2 prizers, then you're just kind of like, well, I hope they don't have Gust for game for their second attack.
That's what it feels like. I still think it's better than Centiskorch though. I think your best bet for a fire deck is Beatran. Beatran.
I mean, this is almost one where I'm kind of like, I think the combo of Heatran Centiskorch is probably really good. And then the question becomes, because Centiskorch can survive at least 1 hit from any attacker.
You could play Heatran in Centiskorch.
Exactly. This is my
combine the two.
Centiskorch can survive an attack, right? So you can safely power up unless they boss's order after you welder and power it up. Starting, if they boss's order and immediately knock that Centiskorch V out, that kind of sucks, but it happens. But assuming you can evolve into the VMAX, you're pretty sure that energy is safe there for at least a turn. So that way you can start committing energy to other Pokemon that you don't have to waste. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So in some ways, it's a safer play. It's more conservative. And because you're evolving, there's always room for that not to happen. But I don't know. I think to me, that is probably what maybe is the long-term, more consistent way to do it. But I mean, look, high roll is a thing.
I love just being aggressive. And this will go into the next question, at least for my answer. Coming in by Cashman, what has been your favorite decks to play of all time so far?
Oh, man.
Your deck or decks. You can choose one or you can choose a couple.
I'm just going to choose one. The only deck that I almost made day 2 at a regional with, because I've only ever been to one proper regional, COVID and all.
What regional was that?
Atlantic City.
Okay.
So that was my first. I did go to the DC Open when I first started playing. And I guess it's a regional, but I mean, I was like 2 months into the game. But I went to Atlantic City Regional this last year and I played Firebox. And I was 5-1-1 at one point, and then I just choked in the home stretch and didn't make day 2.
What did you hit in the home stretch? Like, what was your record in the last 4 or 5 matches?
2. It was only 2 more matches.
Oh, 0-2.
Yeah, I went 5-3-1, and I missed top cut into day 2, and I also missed top 128. I was 141st.
Oh man,
it sucked. It was like I missed 40 points by virtue of, I don't know, losing a couple of games at the end.
I've never played in a regional, but I would tell you that if I play in one, I'll win it.
Oh, good. So you just got to play in one, right? So
yeah, I just gotta be able to play in one. I just need all the sports that happen in the world to stop on a weekend so that I can go actually to a regional.
But Firebox has been my favorite deck thus far, just because it is kind of high rolly, but man, the combos you can pull off are nuts. And
it's pretty flexible, I feel like. Yeah.
And at the time, it was like you played Ninetales, and I even went to at a regional event. I went to a what is it called? Not a overtime, but like when you tie somebody.
Oh. A tiebreaker?
Yeah, kind of. It's like when you sudden death. I went to a sudden death game. Out of a best of 3 series. And because I was playing Giratina Malamar, Tina Tags. And so I was able to like maneuver around it. We went 1-1 in the last game. I took a knockout, and then I knew this was going to happen, that they would take another knockout with the damage counters from a spell tag. So we went to sudden death, and I was able to win the sudden death, and that felt great, right? Because it was like, I felt like that was the first time that I probably ever played a skill-based matchup, because it's pretty skill-based to beat, at the time, to beat, Giratina Malamar with a firebox especially, so you need to know what to gust. And I felt like I played it absolutely perfectly the entire time, and to come away with that win was like pretty validating.
That's awesome. I have like two answers. One, well, they're not that long. My favorite deck in terms of the one that's gotten me the most points. The only time I haven't been to too many events, just because, like, again, I work in sports. Sports happen on the weekends. Very hard because work comes first to be able to go to a lot of events, which was why I was super excited about this summer, because I was like, I'm going to go to so many cups challenges and some regionals, and I was super excited. But anyways, I hear thunder. I better make this quick because there is a thunderstorm coming. Control was the only thing I've ever top cutted in a cup in. I've played in like 2 or 3 cups. I did top 8 in the Ultra Prism to Cosmic Eclipse format. I played Pidgeotto Oranguru, and I played phenomenal. It was so much fun. I feel like I did really, really well. It's probably my most accomplished TCG moment, in all honesty, was doing that, because I just wanted to play Control. I messaged Stefan Eriksson. God, how do you say his name?
Yeah.
I'm pretty enough. So I emailed
Stefan
him.
Ivanov, you mean?
No, not Erickson. Stefan, he's not American, so that's why it's a little bit hard for me to say. But he had been doing really well with Pidgeotto Oranguru, and so I sent him a quick email. I was like, hey, I want to try something different, and I want to play this at a cup. How do you prepare? How do you learn how to play, and what maybe changes to this event that had just happened before? Are there any changes that you would want to make on your list? And it was the event that he actually did a deck list error, so he didn't have stadiums in his list.
Oh, so he had to put fairy energy in, right?
I don't know if it was fairy energy, but he had to put, I think, more energy in his list. But he said, obviously, put in these stadiums instead of extra energies, and so that was that. But I think or not necessarily the best, but my favorite deck of all time to play was Big Blounds GX Naganadel. It was just so fun. I loved Beast Ring, doing quad Beast Ring in a single turn to just blow something up, and being able to draw cards through Welder, through Heat Factory, through Naganadel's Ultra Conversion. It was just so fun to play, and I enjoyed it a lot. So that's probably my favorite deck of all time to play. But I do put in favorite to the decks that I do well with, because I only like to play decks that I enjoy. So there's that answer. Okay, next question. Hold on, I gotta scroll because Cashman provided 5. This one by Mellow Magikarp. Sean, this is very important. I need you to listen carefully. Okay,
I'm listening.
Is a Pop-Tart a ravioli?
I mean, I'm gonna go out on what is the definition of a ravioli to begin with?
I think a ravioli, but wait, actually, let me look this up. How do you spell ravioli? There we go. Ravioli are a type, well, it says it's a pasta comprising a filling enveloped in thin pasta dough. So dough, I think, is like the key word here.
Containing
so that
meat,
is like
cheese or vegetables.
It doesn't say necessarily like what has to be in it. It just says usually served with these different things in there. So, in my personal opinion, I think Pop-Tart, it's got bread, it's a dough, all right? It might not be the exact same as pasta, but it is doughy. It is a doughy outside, and it has filling inside, as raviolis are. Raviolis have some sort of thing inside them. I don't know. I consider Pop-Tarts to be a type of ravioli. It's like a cousin.
I think you are
cousin
stretching.
of ravioli.
I think you are stretching what a ravioli is, my friend.
I think you have no imagination.
I mean, I see the resemblance, right? But resemblance does not a relative make. So
it's a cousin. Like I have cousins that are like over 6 foot tall. All right, they're very good looking people, and then there's me. I'm a little bit on the shorter side. I'm not that pretty. We're still related. We're cousins. You might not know that we're related, and you might not be able to tell by looking at us, but we are related, and that's the same thing with the Pop-Tart and a ravioli.
Nah. Can you eat a ravioli uncooked? Do people eat uncooked ravioli? Answer me yes or no. No.
Yes.
No, people do not eat uncooked ravioli.
Have you ever had the power out at your place? The power's out. All right.
And you're like, cold, uncooked ravioli?
You know what? When times get desperate and you don't have money, sometimes you just got to do it.
Do you put a Pop-Tart in the fridge? Is that how a Pop-Tart needs to be stored?
I mean, actually, brown sugar Pop-Tarts.
No.
That's actually not that bad in the fridge.
I'm not saying is it good or bad. I'm saying is it necessary to store them in the fridge? No.
No, just because it's not necessary to heat up a can of Chef Boyardee ravioli.
No. My point is,
does it say on the can that
ravioli is not a shelf-stable product? So, thus, a ravioli. Huh?
We just decided that you could put the Pop-Tart in the fridge.
You can put it in the fridge, but a Pop-Tart is shelf-stable, whereas a ravioli is not a shelf-stable product.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. A ravioli you have to keep in the fridge.
Nuh-uh.
Uh-huh. What ravioli are you cooking?
When you open it, okay, then you got to put it in the fridge.
What ravioli are you buying that doesn't come in the refrigerator section?
You buy Chef Boyardee and you tell me if you, when you find it in the grocery store, in your Kroger, Payless, Walmart, whatever, all right, you tell me if your Chef Boyardee cans are in the fridge area, in the frozen area, the fridge area, with the dairy and the milk and the cheese.
I guess I don't think about Chef Boyardee ravioli. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? We're here now. We're talking about big brands. We got Kellogg's, Pop-Tarts, and boom, we got Chef Boyardee.
I don't think we will never reach an agreement on this. Thank you, Mellow Magikarp, for breaking up the Metapod.
Sean said that he has not seen ravioli in the fridge sections. It's on the shelf.
No.
Therefore,
ravioli is always in the fridge.
No, it's not. I think
yes, it is. Weird. I have ravioli in my freezer that I always get in the fridge section.
I retract my statement. Of saying that I'm the weirdest Pokemon TCG player. It's officially Sean because Sean puts his ravioli in the fridge before he opens the can.
No, it's not. It doesn't come in a can.
Yes, it does.
No.
Google Chef Boyardee ravioli right now.
Nasty ravioli comes in a can.
That's not nasty. It's just Chef Boyardee. It's like one of the biggest brands of pasta.
We have to move. What is the next question?
I don't care what the next question is. How do you not eat Chef Boyardee?
No. I don't play that.
You're blasphemy, my friend. Anyways. What is your best memory to date about playing the Pokemon trading card game competitively? This was sent in by Cashman.
My best memory today about playing the Pokemon card game competitively.
Yeah.
That is a tough one. I don't think I have a singular best memory, if you want my honest opinion. I think in general, I'm a person that really likes having a hobby. And I had a hobby for many years prior to Pokemon. And then I didn't have a hobby for several years because I was like more invested in my work and career. And now I have a hobby again that is Pokemon. And I think that it gives me, a sense of community, of camaraderie with other people. So broadly speaking, my favorite memory is all of it. It's not an answer, but I don't have a favorite memory.
All of it. Sean's just mad about this ravioli.
That's right. My favorite memory was going to be Mellow Magikarp's question, but then it just got soured by the by ravioli.
Soured by you being wrong.
Uh-huh. What about you? What's your favorite memory? Proving me wrong about Pop-Tarts?
No, I think it was probably the first game or the first win that I had in my run in the cup with Pidgeotto Oranguru Control, because like I started out 0-1. I played a Tina Chomp, which is pretty much an auto loss. Because they can just spread damage around and things like that, and be able to really whack you really early and cheaply. But round 2, I hit a Guardian. Guardian, I think, just depending on how well you can get the control part of it down, I think is what really stops Guardy, if my memory serves me correctly, because like they had greens, they use greens, and so you greens for your greens and your greens. So you have to be able to like reset stamp at the right time, and you have to be able to bring back certain cards at the right moments and things like that. And I think because like we were the last match as control, usually as we were the last match for that round, and so everybody being around me, and like I had no like major event wins. I'm a relatively new player into the game. It's still my first year of playing. I think being at a local event and seeing the people that go to my local league and stuff, seeing me play like a control deck, which is complex. At the time, it wasn't necessarily as much mill as it was control. So watching me be able to pilot this like complex deck and do well with it, I think was super cool, because I think it added validity, or maybe like, I mean, it didn't necessarily add me validity as a player, but like it made me feel valid.
Yeah, it was self-validating.
It was, I could totally see like the improvements I've made in the last, like in the months leading up to it and stuff. And that was like super, super satisfying. And like, you know, people telling me like, oh my gosh, great job. And, you know, playing this card instead of this card and doing this and recognizing that he did that. And like, that was super cool. I will not forget that, that event.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. And also Pop-Tart is ravioli.
Continue.
All right. Next question by Mr. Micro. I believe this is Microbot, one of my viewers in Twitch chat. Why is Shellos? So, Sean, I'm going to reformat this question.
Okay.
Do you like East Bay Shellos or West Bay Shellos better?
If you want my honest opinion, I don't really have much of a thought on Shellos as a Pokemon.
Do you even know which one is East Bay and which one is West
Nope.
Bay?
This is where I'm going to be showing my lack of playing the video game knowledge. I just, no idea.
Cue the boo hotkey that I just pushed that I can't.
I edit this. I'm not putting that in. How about you?
You're just still mad about ravioli.
Explain to me what East Bay and West Bay Shellos are.
Okay, so do you know Shellos, like as a Pokemon in general?
Yeah, vaguely.
So do you know that there's two different colors? There's a pink one and a blue one.
Nope.
Okay, so there's two different Shellos. There is a East Bay Shellos. It's blue with some yellow trim, and it's got like a green bottom. So the top of it is blue. Kind of the gooey parts of a slug is green, and it's a little bit more wavy. It's a little bit more. I would say it's a little bit more like Japanese style. If you were to put those two Shellos next to each other, and I were to ask you like which one looks more Japanese in terms of its design and things like that, I think you would say East Bay Shellos. And then the other one, the West Bay Shellos, it's pink. It's got little spikes on its back. And it's got like little bulbs that kind of formulate in a circle on top of its head, little bulbs. And they're both very cute, but I personally like East Sea form Shellos. I like East Sea form Shellos. That's a mouthful to say. The blue one, because he looks more like more like a dragon. He looks like he's zooming because he's got little wings, and his ears are more flat, more padded down instead of straight up. He looks like he's zooming.
I am looking at this image now. and I am 100% with you. East, the blue one, whatever the
East
blue
Bay
one is.
Shellos. East, well, it's East C.
East Sea
I keep
Shellos.
saying
I'm
Bay,
all
but I
about
like
East
Bay.
Sea Shellos. My
East
favorite
Sea
colors are blue
Shellos.
and yellow anyway, so yeah, I'm all for this.
I think blue and yellow is a weird color combination, especially when paired up with green, but I'm pretty okay with the Shellos.
All right, we down with
I'm pretty
this
okay with the Shello. Yeah, we're done with the Shellos. Okay, next question. Okay, this one by Cashman. Favorite person you've played against or best match against a certain someone?
That's a tough one. This requires me to have a memory of these things. Usually, like great matches, I feel like they get wiped from my memory based on the stress of playing them.
The Guardy match that I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to say that because I have no idea who I played against. Someone I've never met before.
I will say, I think I played a Mewtwo. I was playing Welder Mewtwo against, I believe, someone in my area named, I want to say Edwin. I could be wrong. I think his Twitter handle has Wailord in it. But I was playing a Mew 3 Welder against a Tina Chomp deck. The Roxy Tina Chomp and everything. And that deck at the time, it was scary, right? So you sit down, I am playing in a cup, and I am able to pull off, I think it was like he might have reset stamped me down to 4 or something because he might have been playing Miss Magus too. I can't remember. I think so. And basically I had to draw the nuts, if you will, in order to knock out this Tina Chomp on the second turn. Because I went first and he was able to put damage, and like literally the next turn he would have blown up my Mewtwo, and that would have been basically game over. It's that kind of game. And I was able to get everything down and draw into it. And then he went on, we both actually went on to make top cut. So I'm happy that like that win didn't knock him out, but I was able to get past it. Crazy matchup. And it was just one of those games that afterwards we were both like, if you don't hit that, I win. If you do hit that, you win. It was just about the most nerve-wracking set of plays ever.
I would say my favorite, because I've never been to like a regional or anything like that, so I don't have like super big matchups. I would say my favorite one that I did was against Sean when we did a conquest. We did like a conquest, 5 decks. I would say that would honestly, like, in all seriousness, like, cheese aside, that would probably be like my favorite because we both went in with like whack decks. I brought Aerodactyl GX. You brought Bolton because you love Bolton and stuff. And
I brought Bolton with, I think,
popular.
Electros is what I played that against you. Yeah. I was able to pull it off against the Goons or something.
Yeah, and I played Goons, and like I played a bunch of decks that like I wasn't used to. And even though I got smoked, like it was fun. It was a lot of fun to just play against you. There was no real stakes besides bragging rights, and I thought that was a lot of fun. That's probably my best memory because I do like having those like fun moments with other people. Yeah. But I've never had an event like the best match against a certain, like I haven't played against Azul. I almost played against Azul one time at a challenge, but I was at the top table and he was number 2 for that specific round. And so I was like, dang, I was 1 off from playing you. I was hot that day with Big Blowns. That was my Big Blown time. And I remember there was overtime, and all I had to do was go burst GX.
Oh my gosh. That's like, awesome. That's so gross in a
It was awesome.
You're just
it was
like
awesome.
Burst GX. And it's like this format with sudden death was not designed for an automatic prize.
Yeah. Like my opponent, my opponent had said, oh man, we got to go to sudden death. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be crazy. I actually like did not realize he had told me as we were shuffling, and he's like, well, you're just going to burst GX. And then I was like, oh, I can burst GX.
You're like, thank you for the strategy.
I had never been in that situation. So shout out to him for letting me know about it's only one prize that you have to take.
Yeah.
And I can just burst GX because that's awesome. I didn't know. And I was going to I was going to try to like weld her up and try to blow him up. I probably honestly like what would have happened probably like if I missed the opportunity to use Burst GX, honestly, what I probably would have done, or I'm sorry, missed the opportunity to like get a certain amount of energies to blow him up because he was playing Firebox, I remember. So like to knock out the Reshazard, if I miss like the amount of energies I needed to knock that out, I probably would have just done Burst GX anyway. So then I can knock out a tag team, and then because that's like what you usually do, right? You knock out a tag team and then you knock out
a two prizer,
like a two prizer or two Volcanions or whatever. But I probably would have Burst GX anyways, just not knowing that would be your win. That was the literal win con. Yeah. So that's pretty. That was probably like. I don't think that was part of the question, but that was definitely like a good moment, I guess, in terms of like at an event, I guess I should say. So next one.
How many questions we got left?
We got a couple left.
Okay.
Just like we got one from Captain Swan. And then I think we have two more from Cashman. I think we have two. No, we have one more from Cashman. Hold on. There's that one that we haven't answered yet. And no, I think we just have two questions left. Left. Okay. So this one is coming from Izza or Captain Swan or whatever. Thank you for submitting this question. For the Pokemon card collectors out there. So for the collectors, what is your favorite Pokemon card art? And then a little parenthesis there. Actually, I won't give you the parenthesis yet. I'll wait to hear your answer.
Man,
what is your favorite card art?
I think there's like a nostalgia aspect, and then there is like if I just had to look at a specific thing constantly aspect, right? I lean personally for what I would like to look at for nostalgia and everything. For whatever reason, things like Zapdos, I really just like it. It's super basic. It's not like that amazing of a card art, let's be frank. But that Pokemon and that like the bright yellow of it and everything is like lots of memories there. So I would say that Zapdos for me is like an old school card art, and the new school, man, that's pretty tough. I really like the full art supporters. They just look so good. So if I were to have to pick
the full art supporters,
yeah, they're just beautiful.
Think about that.
If I had to pick one full art supporter, man, they're all good in their own way, but maybe something like one of the Misties is really good. Like Misty's, I can't remember the one from Unified Minds is really good.
Misty's Favor?
Yeah, Misty's Favor is very good. And I suppose the other one might be, yeah, Misty's Favor is what I would go with for now. It's like a full art, just pure artwork for now. Yeah, off the top of my head.
Okay, this is really tough for me because I'm collecting all the full art supporters. So that's really, really hard. I have like a top 4.
All right.
I have a top 4. I cannot choose one. Okay, so number 1, I'm going to just make it obvious. It's Rowlet, because Rowlet's my favorite Pokemon of all time. I really, really like the Darkness Ablaze card of Rowlet. I think it is adorable. I think it's wonderful. I love it unconditionally. And then branching, I guess it's top 5 now. The Rowlet Alolan Executor alternate art. Very cute. I love it. You don't really see Rowlet, but like you see the little speck and you're like, oh my God, that's Rowlet. And it's adorable. And I love it. But I have 2 old cards that I really, really like in my collection that I had when I was a kid and that I love. One of them is Porygon from Team Rocket. So Sean, do you know that card off the top of your head?
Probably, actually. It's
Porygon coming out of the box. So it's like an open box and there's a Porygon sitting in the box. It's adorable. Porygon is honestly like my second favorite Pokemon of all time.
Yeah.
He's just like peeping out of the box. It looks like it was a present, and it's so adorable. And it's my favorite Porygon card of all time because I love Porygon so much. And then another card I don't really like. Slowpoke's not really in my top 5, but the fossil Slowpoke of just like a picture of Slowpoke a little bit far away and then some clouds in the background. It's so funny and it's so random.
I don't know. For some reason,
love it.
Is this an No. It's not an Imakuni. It's not. It almost looks goofy enough to be an Imakuni or something like that. Yeah, it is a goofy looking card. It's so flat.
Yeah, it's just like, it's so basic, but I love it unconditionally, and it's so funny. But if you were to tell me, like, Jake, you're collecting all the full art supporters, that's your favorite type of card, what would you pick? I would say Coach Trainer is my favorite full art
Coach
supporter.
Trainer is very good.
It is quite possibly like the best card, in my opinion. Like, honestly, one of the best cards ever printed art-wise. That being said, I love EX, like plasma full arts.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Deoxys EX, the Genesect EX, like that era of full arts is awesome. And I love them unconditionally. And I want them all, but they're kind of getting expensive because black and white era. But anyways, those are like my top 5, I guess. I did a lot of cards.
I'm forgetting Jesse and James full art.
Oh, Jesse and James full art is really good.
If you watch the anime, it's just I wish it was a better, more playable card, but boy howdy, it's a good looking card.
It's very I played it in my run of the Top Cut with Pidgeotto Oranguru. I had a Jesse and James in that list. I didn't have the full art at that time, but I had a Jesse and James in that list. But yeah, that's a very beautiful card. It really like captures exactly the anime of Jesse and James, which is very nostalgic. I also like Decidueye GX Shiny from Hidden Fates. I guess if we're gonna add Hidden Fates, because I love Decidueye and its shiny is beautiful. Anyways, I'll stop. I'll stop with the cards and we'll get on to the final question. If you guys could travel to a place just to play Pokemon trading card game, where would it be?
I mean, I guess, are we going for like, is it just the view of playing the Pokemon card game, or is it
you could say like just a really cool place to play the Pokemon trading card game? You could say a place where you know a lot of people from that you would just love to play with. You could say just a place that you want to visit and then go around and see if they have any local leagues going on, you know, while you're there. It's kind of vague, but you can interpret it how you want.
I mean, look, I think something that I actually do want to do, and it's not going to be as whimsical as maybe the answer could be, but I do want to go to Japan. I've been once for a couple weeks, but this is before I played Pokemon. I want to go back, and when I go, I want to be able to like know what deck I want to build, buy all the Japanese cards, and then play in a Japanese tournament while I'm in Japan. Like, that is an actual dream of mine. I do not speak Japanese. I would probably have to learn a little bit just to communicate, but I mean, you would go in knowing exactly what every card does. So I think for me, that would be something I actually want to do.
I think that's actually, like, I would say that too. That's honestly what I would say, because like I love watching the Japanese decks and some of the Japanese tournaments on like YouTube and stuff, but just for the purpose of providing a different answer and not piggyback off you, I would say I want to go into like the Ohio area and play. Because like you talk about there's so many good players like in that area, not just Andrew Mahone. You know, you got Flex Daddy Righteous up there. I have a lot of friends that are over in that area, you know, dapper, bearded, people from my community that you may know on Twitter. Those are wonderful people as well that live over there. So being able to go over there and just play games with them, you know, whether that's on the Full Grip stream or just, you know, hanging out with the buds, you know, cracking a cold apple juice with the boys and gals over there, you know, like that to me would be a super fun thing to do. You know, Sombra's over there too. I've hung out with Sombra. I haven't played really with Sombra, but I hung out with her at Internets.
I feel like you're not that far away, right? How far is Indiana?
No, I'm not that far away. The thing is, like, I just can't go over there, right? Because like I
there's
work
nothing
in
to
sports.
do now, anyways.
Well, I mean, you say that, but I have a freelance job so that I can pay rent. I still have lots and lots of work to do.
Oh no, but I'm saying you know, there's no tournaments.
Oh yeah, there's no sports, there's no tournaments, you know, and people aren't really playing together. And I told Andrew, I tweeted at Andrew Mahone one day. I said, "Yo, Andrew, if you ever need someone," at the beginning of the summer when the pandemic started, I was like, "If you need someone to come by and play some tabletop games with you, I am open because my job is like not happening this summer." I pitched it to him. I didn't hear from him, but I pitched it to him.
He's got his local crew, and I think if you're trying to minimize some exposure, the two people you work with is probably.
I am fine to drive at the butt crack of dawn over there. So Andrew, if you ever hear this, when the December set, well, actually, I don't know. It depends on what sports are like, but you call me up if you ever want to play some tabletop, and I will gladly find some time to play tabletop.
Jake is on call.
I mean, honestly, like, I just want to do stuff. I just want to do cool stuff because, like, I'm not gonna play this game forever, right? Like, there will be I mean, I might collect the cards forever, but I don't know if it's something that I will definitely play forever, like when I'm 80 years old.
No.
I will definitely appreciate the cards for the time. But that is all I think of the podcast today. There is a very dark storm that looks like may give me some trouble. So probably want to end this recording.
If Jake doesn't stream for the next week, you know that his power went out.
Yeah, I should be streaming by the time, like, as this goes live, and there should be a YouTube video that comes out. But I just got back from Chicago. Whew, those leaves are flying. I better actually check the radar. But like, I just got back from Chicago visiting family. My mom, for those of you that don't know, my grandfather has been diagnosed with cancer, and he's been going through chemo, and he's old. He's not young. So we're spending as much time with them as possible before college athletics, before we're supposed to report back to college athletics, because my mother and I, who my grandfather is my mom's dad, her and I both work in college athletics. So especially since, schools can still schedule games, not necessarily have NCAA March Madness championships. They can still schedule games. We're still on call to go to the office and work full time here in a couple weeks. So now's the best time for us to be able to like go see them and stuff. So I still have to record today's YouTube video or tomorrow's YouTube video or today's, I guess, if you're listening to the podcast.
Yep. Time dilation is real.
Yeah. And I may die. I may die from the storm. Who knows?
No. All right. That's going to do it for us. Yeah. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for submitting the questions. If you like this and you're not already subscribed on your favorite platform, go do that. And then also give us a rating.
Sean, we have to remind them of POG. The stuff for POG. Did we find the
I don't know. Just if you want to play in the POG championship, when you hear this, just go register. Just do it now.
Yeah, go register now.
I think you probably have a little more than a week still, but just do it now.
Yeah, and plus, like, if you decide, maybe the day before, like, I'm just not going to do it, just drop. I'm pretty sure it's like,
it's free.
It free
no
to
harm,
enter?
No foul.
Yeah, it's free to enter. So there's if you're on the fence, just do it now before you lose your chance.
Just do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
All right, that's gonna do it. Peace out, everybody.
Bye. You look cute today.